The man spent half a month of his salary to book a presidential suite, but after he walked in it was not to enjoy it. Instead, he started doing the work of a waiter. He wiped everything inside until it was spotless, and finally left behind a note. After finishing all this, he took a deep breath and walked to the window. Without hesitation, he stepped out. His strange behavior was spotted by citizens. Soon a large crowd gathered. The police rushed to the scene immediately. They set up a safety air cushion downstairs. The media began speculating about the reason he wanted to jump. Some even suspected he turned to this dead end because of stock trading. The police also sent their most authoritative negotiation expert, hoping the man would give up this foolish act. However, Nick refused to communicate with him. He specifically demanded to see a detective named Lisa, and threatened that if he did not see her within 30 minutes, he would decisively jump from the building. The expert was left with no solution for a moment. No fingerprints were found in the room. Until now, they still could not confirm his identity. Only that strange suicide note on the table remained. Lisa, who was on vacation, was forced back to work, but as soon as she arrived at the scene, she was mocked, because not long ago another man jumped off a bridge to commit suicide. Lisa tried for a long time but failed to save him. She was criticized by all sectors of society because of it, and for a long time she was on the verge of a mental breakdown. She wanted to know why Nick chose her, because if he truly wanted to jump, why go through all the trouble just to meet her? However, Nick said it was because she had been in the spotlight recently. He believed wherever she was would definitely become a hot topic. Those words pierced Lisa like a needle. Not only did her colleagues make sarcastic remarks beside her, even the media did not think highly of this negotiation. They even mocked that the police were accelerating the man's death. More and more citizens gathered on the street. They hoped to see someone jump off a building every day. However, Nick was not doing all this to commit suicide. He was here to do something that would shock the entire country. And what was about to happen next would make you completely convinced of him. But first, they had to confirm his identity, because the police found no fingerprints in the room, and were certain he came prepared. Lisa originally wanted to take out a cigarette and share it with Nick. That way she could easily collect his saliva. But Nick did not like that at all, and decisively rejected her kindness. Seeing this, Lisa changed her strategy. She shockingly stated that Nick would definitely not commit suicide, although she did not yet know the reason. She knew Nick must have some kind of purpose. Lisa hoped he could open up to her, because the people watching below did not care whether he lived or died. Some of them might have even started placing bets. Even the police hoped to wrap up work early. The only one who truly cared about him now was herself. Just as Lisa was still trying to persuade him, a sound came through Nick's earpiece. A mysterious voice told him everything was ready. Unexpectedly, in the collar of his clothes, there was a hidden microphone, and this was also the purpose of him coming here. Nick used to be an outstanding police officer, but he was wrongly imprisoned 2 years ago. Most of the people here were arrested by him personally, so he was busy every day. During that time he kept appealing, but in the end it was rejected by the judge. Nick was therefore sentenced to 20 years. His former partner came to visit him in prison. Now the other man had already been promoted and gotten a raise, but their relationship remained the same as before. However, this time he brought bad news. Nick's father did not have much time left. His partner could help him apply to the judge for 1-day parole. That was the only thing he could do. But unexpectedly at the funeral, Nick got into an argument with his younger brother. He blamed him for letting their father be too close to the railway. However, his brother accused him of angering their dad to death. In the end, the two even ignored their feelings and started fighting. A prison guard originally came to stop them, but unexpectedly Nick suddenly turned his fist and took the guard's weapon in the process.
Down! Put your gun down! Down! What the hell are you doing? Put your gun down! You got 2 kids, Donnie. Think about it.
The prison guard had no reason to lose his life because of this, and could only choose to obediently put down his weapon. Fortunately, Nick still cared about brotherhood, and only asked him and the guard to kneel on the ground. Before leaving, Nick shot out a tire nearby. However, he had not driven far before he was spotted by the pursuing police. Seeing more and more police cars behind him, and a roaring train ahead, Nick had no other choice. If he wanted to escape, he could only take a gamble. The police knew no one could walk away unharmed from such a collision, but when they rushed over, they found the car was empty. But the escaped Nick did not choose to flee far away. Instead, he wanted to do something that would shock the nation. The voice coming through the earpiece was not an outsider, but his younger brother and girlfriend. It turned out the two were only acting at the cemetery. Their real goal was to clear Nick's name. Soon the two arrived at the building across from the hotel. Nick glanced at the time, and began directing the operation. There were so many citizens downstairs the traffic was affected, and this was exactly the result they wanted to see. At this time, security had deactivated the building's defense system. Preparing to welcome the morning rush of employees, the two also installed the bombs on the rooftop on time, and finally covered them with a mattress to reduce dust. Their operation had been planned a year ago, and the most crucial step required Nick to complete. He looked at Lisa beside him, and told her he would not disappoint the audience below.
Hey, what are you doing? No. Hey, look at me. Look at me. Walker, look at me.
The police seemed to hear a sound, but it was instantly drowned out by the screams of the citizens. Nick finally let out a breath of relief. They blasted a big hole in the rooftop, and below it happened to be the building's ventilation duct. At this moment Nick was extremely nervous. He actually asked to smoke. Lisa knew this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, so she lied that there was only one left and wanted to share it with him. Nick casually took a few puffs, and handed it back again, and Lisa finally got the lit print she wanted. However, the police would never have expected that this was also part of Nick's plan. On the other side, the two inside the building successfully bent the fan blades. His brother controlled an elevator to the top floor, so they could safely pass down the elevator shaft to the designated floor. Then the two took out the skateboards they had prepared in advance. They used a self-deceiving method to pass through the hallway surveillance, because the security guards were already distracted by the live news broadcast, and did not notice an unidentified object moving on the monitor. To make it easier for them to retreat smoothly, his brother took out a camera and snapped a photo. The security guards did not notice anything unusual at all, but soon they encountered a new problem. Because the blueprint did not mark that there were cameras on the ceiling, they could only inform Nick of the situation inside. But since he was still being entangled by Lisa, he could only use the most subtle way to hope his brother would understand.
Nick, I need you, man. We got a problem here.
What do you mean?
We don't know what it is. It's some kind of sensor.
Like if it was me, I'd be having dinner at Roberto's.
So tell me about it.
Babe, tell him what you're looking at.
It's a little black bulb on the ceiling, about 4 inches across.
It's this little Italian joint in the Bronx. Roberto does amazing things with truffles. Bottle of wine.
That sounds hot.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need a little more than that, bro. What are you saying? I need an answer here.
Listen, this thing that we got here, I think that we should cool it down before you get into trouble.
Look, Nicky, numbnuts, this is not a candlelit dinner. We're sweating down here. What is it?
This thing.
I'm just looking out for you.
His girlfriend immediately understood what Nick meant, and knew that the device should be a thermal sensor. To make it lose effect they had to cool it down, and that was exactly what Nick wanted to express. In this way they successfully used the characteristics of a fire extinguisher, perfectly hiding the heat they emitted, and finally sprayed wildly at the thermal sensor, making it completely lose its function. At the same time the police identified the jumper.
Cassidy. The cop that stole the diamond off David Englander?
$40 million diamond. I knew I recognized this mutt.
Coincidentally, this hotel was also property under David Englander. Across the street was the jewelry exchange where Nick was arrested. Combined with the suicide note he left on the table, the police understood that he wanted to prove his innocence. At this time his partner also learned about Nick's situation. He hoped Lisa could persuade him. The woman was extremely angry. She wanted to know what Nick was really trying to do. Facing Lisa's questioning, Nick told the truth. 2 years ago he was ordered to escort the diamond to a company, but on the way he was knocked unconscious by two masked men. In the end the shipment disappeared, and he was framed as the robber and imprisoned. No one believed he was innocent, so he had to use this desperate measure to prove himself, because David Englander was facing bankruptcy after business failure. Nick believed he designed everything to commit insurance fraud. Seeing that he did not seem to be lying, Lisa asked who might have attacked him. Although Nick still did not know their identities, David Englander never trusted outsiders, so he secretly hired police officers to work for him. That meant inside the police force, at least 2 corrupt cops were involved in everything. At this time the police also found security and prepared to check the exchange. To buy time for his brother, Nick took out cash and threw it into the air. The people below instantly fell into chaos and crouched down to pick up the money. This successfully delayed the police action. The two inside had installed surveillance in advance to get the password. 1 second before security arrived, they smoothly hid in the ventilation duct and thus obtained the password to enter the vault. Meanwhile, David Englander also brought the police captain. Unexpectedly, the man was the corrupt cop Nick mentioned. In 2 hours the company would have an important meeting. David Englander hoped the matter could be settled quickly, otherwise he would transfer the man to a remote mountain area. After confirming the vault was secure, the captain decided to launch a forced assault on Nick. Because he was a fugitive with certain aggressiveness, the man gave Lisa the last 15 minutes. If she still could not handle Nick by then, the captain would take over command here. The news also began reporting his crimes. The citizens at the scene urged him to jump down to prove his innocence. Except for Lisa, no one believed Nick anymore. Just then his partner arrived at the hotel. He brought documents sent from the prison. Lisa cautiously asked whether he believed Nick really committed the crime. However, the man did not answer directly. He only hoped to see Nick once. But Lisa sensed a hint of conspiracy. She decisively rejected his request. Helpless, his partner could only choose to leave. On the other side, the two inside used the password and successfully entered the building's vault. They calculated the distance on the steel door, then took out a diamond drill and made a small hole, then took out a funnel and poured in nitride, destroying the molecular structure between the steel plates. Finally, they inserted a steel nail aiming at the gear, and with one hammer strike shattered the hard steel. The two effortlessly opened the safe. Inside was the wealth David Englander accumulated over many years, but after searching for a long time they did not find the diamond. On the other side, the corrupt cop prepared to lead the team to launch the assault, but this would very likely provoke Nick. Lisa did not want to see someone commit suicide in front of her again. She even risked everything and stepped onto the windowsill. Nick did not expect this woman to be so crazy, but at this moment his brother called through the earpiece. With another person beside him, it was inconvenient to communicate. He could only confess to Lisa that he was going to steal the diamond. Only in this way could he clear his name. But soon he received bad news. The diamond was not there at all. Nick was filled with despair, but he had no choice but to gamble again. Soon the building's alarm suddenly sounded. David Englander realized trouble had reached his backyard, and hurried over with security to check. However, when he saw the vault door open, he was not as flustered as before. He walked to a wall and took out a card. Unexpectedly, there was a hidden door there. It not only required fingerprint unlocking, but also required his face. After finally entering the password, the diamond that framed Nick surfaced. Perhaps David Englander was too guilty, and believed it was safest to wear it on him. Nick hoped Lisa could buy him some time, but when he returned to the room, unexpectedly his partner suddenly broke in, and locked everyone else outside. On the surface his partner was persuading Nick, but in fact he was worried about himself. At this moment the captain gave the order. They decided to launch a forced assault to eliminate the trouble.
I'm your friend! Then why you look so guilty?
Seeing the special forces descending from above, Nick could only choose to escape. He smashed the glass and entered the room, but the entire hotel was already under police control. He could only try his best to buy time for his brother. On the other side, David Englander had just returned to his office planning to hide the diamond, but unexpectedly two thugs suddenly appeared.
Who are you?
You don't remember me? I'm the brother. The one sitting behind Nick in court every day for 5 weeks. You remember me now?
David Englander knew he had been set up, but facing their threats, he could only obediently hand over the diamond. Then his brother brought his girlfriend to the hotel lobby, pretending to store their luggage at the front desk. In fact, the clerk was also their accomplice. The purpose was to transfer the diamond into Nick's hands, but at this moment David Englander dragged a desk and picked up the phone, threatening the captain that if the diamond was not handled they would all be finished. The corrupt cop falsely claimed that Nick had a bomb on him, and ordered his teammates to shoot him on sight. The captain decided to personally eliminate this trouble, but unexpectedly as soon as he entered the hotel he ran into the brother. On the other side Nick was cornered on the rooftop. He could only choose to surrender. Lisa originally wanted to escort Nick downstairs safely, but the captain said he had now taken over command. Lisa could only be forcibly taken away. After sending the team members away, David Englander also brought the brother to the scene. Facing their threats, Nick could only obediently hand over the diamond, but David Englander did not want to let the two go. After he left with the diamond, the captain threatened Nick to jump down voluntarily, but at this moment his partner rushed over and pulled the trigger without hesitation. However, the captain was wearing a bulletproof vest and was unharmed, but his partner was already dying. Perhaps knowing he was about to die, he spoke kindly. He admitted that he framed Nick 2 years ago. At this moment the captain raised his weapon again, but unexpectedly he was shot dead by Lisa. But at this time David Englander had already left the hotel with the diamond. Nick understood that everything he did would fail. Now everyone who knew about this had died, so what awaited him would be a ruthless prison cell. Watching David Englander leave in style, Nick decided to make a final desperate attempt. He gathered his courage and accelerated his run, and without hesitation jumped down. Fortunately, he landed steadily on the safety air cushion. The crowd at the scene swarmed forward, instantly blocking the police's view, and Nick slipped away in the chaos. He grabbed David Englander and beat him violently, and got the diamond 1 second before the police arrived. He finally proved his innocence. Nick therefore regained his freedom, but their plan could not have succeeded without one person's support. That was his father, and the fake death was also part of the plan. It was precisely because of the old man that he could move through the hotel unnoticed. The diamond was also handed to Nick at that time, and the family was finally reunited together.